Welcome to another episode of Squid Game, a popular Korean Netflix survival drama series. From the last episode, we already know what is the objective of the game. Now, we will recap episodes 4 to 6. Warning. Spoilers ahead. Let's find out what deadly games the series will show us today. Episode 4 of Squid Game begins with player 111 being led away from the others to a hidden area. Accompanied by one of the staff members and another deletes the CCTV footage. Back in the dormitory, Gi-hun starts to suspect Sang-woo isn't being honest about the honeycomb game, although he keeps his concerns to himself for now. The cash prize is getting higher and higher since many players are getting eliminated. Because of the limited food provided, player 101, Deok-soo with his gangs, decided to break the rules and ends up eating a second helping of their egg and water meal. That leaves 5 contestants to go hungry. And the staff? They just stand silently and watch as Deok-soo beats the man to death. The only thing that changes is the chiptune chime, as this deceased player is removed and more money is added to the prize fund. The bodies are taken down to the infirmary where Junho, the detective, takes the square mask for himself, which basically makes him a supervisor now. Player 111 has inside knowledge and continues to work with the mask crew for a shadowy mission of their own. Through his informants inside, player 111 learns that the reduced rations were all part of the game, intending to turn the players on each other and weed out the weaklings. Inside player 111's egg is another message wherein it is written a hint for the next game. He's told to stick with the strongest team, and that falls to Deok-soo's gang. He then told him what the next game will be. During Lights Out, all hell breaks loose. The tension built up early on spills into Deok-soo and his gang going after the other contestants while the others try to survive their onslaught. Gi-hun goes straight after player 1, hoping the old man is okay. He's not in his bed though and the group scramble to find him. Player 67 joins Gi-hun's group while a standoff. Player 1 standing atop the beds and pleading with them all to stop, given he's scared. The frontman watches all of this take place and eventually calls on the guards to rush in and end this. Building an alliance, they finally get to learn who everyone is. Player 67 is actually called Se-byuk while player 1 is clearly shaking up and suffering from dementia. He can't remember his own name. Next game will be team game, with contestants dividing themselves up into groups of 10. They have a 10-minute time limit and player 111, well aware of what the next game is already, urges Deok-soo to bring more men into the group. Gi-hun adopts the same tactic, pushing player 212, whose real name is Han Min-yu, away after hooking up with her in private. Well, she winds up joining Gi-hun's group in the end, much to 111's despair. Time is up. Different groups enter another room where they learn that what they are about to play is actually tug of war. Team 1 defeats Team 7 in the tug of war. All of the players of Team 7 are hung when they grab the rope. A huge blade falls to cut of the rope. The players fall to the floor from the bridge. They're all dead. Unfortunately, Team 4 are drawn with Team 5, which is made up entirely of men. The 2 different groups take their place on the suspended platforms. As fate would have it, player 1 is actually very good at this, dishing out some sound advice over the best way to play. It's incredibly tense and as Sang-woo takes charge, telling them to move forward 3 spaces, the episode comes to a cliffhanger ending. The beginning of the episode started off as a continuation of the tug-of-war. Sang-woo's technique of them moving 3 steps forward was still a success, letting the other team get out of balance. They used the opportunity to pull back the rope and win the tug-of-war and let the other team hanging to their doom. While the dysfunctional group heads back to their dormitory, the workers continue to deceive the front man and the others in charge. After marking one of the caskets with a bloody cross last time out, the body is dropped before hitting the incinerator. This drops to a secret chamber where the body is seen by 2 defected workers, numbers 28 and 29. Back in the dorm, Gi-hun's group sets up a barricade, and Gi-hun even has advice for Deok-soo too. He warns him against getting complacent, pointing out that the thugs he's with aren't exactly trustworthy. Now, player 111, the doctor, had a deal with the corrupt masked workers in the games. With the CCTV footage deleted, he's being used to help the corrupt workers transport organs out of the dead bodies and onto a boat bound for the mainland. In exchange, the doctor is told what the next games will be and given a distinct advantage. The organs are bagged and handed over to other masked workers, number 28 and number 29. When number 28 and number 29 left, player 111 starts to lose his trust in the remaining guards, especially when they refuse to disclose details about the next game. He charges out of the room and makes his way through the hallways to the familiar playground, ascending through numerous doors. The front man arrives and shoots the unmasked worker dead as player 111 watches on in shock. Their arrangement has come to an end. The doctor is shot dead too, reminded that these games are supposed to be fair. Meanwhile, down in the basement, Junho's identity is revealed to Mask Staff 28. Junho believes these men are responsible for his brother's disappearance, but number 28 remains adamant that they're not. However, he does reveal the location of a list with all the different people operated on, including a girl whom he and his buddies each took turns raping before taking her organs. Disgusted, Junho shoots the man in the head. It didn't take long for the front man to realize Junho is not one of them. With precious little time remaining, Junho sneaks into the record room and digs through the files. Labeled as Squid Archives, he begins sifting through each player's files and finds their medical records and details about their life. Hiding inside one of the drawers is a familiar black box with pink ribbon. This holds a list of all the winners, dating back all the way to 1990. Checking the 2015 file, he realizes that his brother was very much a part of these games. A new game begins, despite Junho still on the prowl. Gi-hun helps out player 1, wrapping a hooded jumper across his midriff to hide his wet patches. The poor man is clearly frightened, but thus far has done a pretty good job hiding it. However, that fear comes back in big waves as the doctor and the corrupt guards are shown hanging in the stairwell for the remaining players to see. This is a warning that those trying to gain an unfair advantage will be punished. Meanwhile, Junho snaps photos of all the evidence in the archives. A phone call brings the front man back, and Junho into hiding, as he speaks English to whomever it is on the other line. They confirm that the next game will begin as scheduled. The next game sees players split into pairs. Whenever two players agree to team up, they must shake hands to seal the deal. Minyu is a wildcard here, with Sangwoo and Gi-hun both reluctant to take her on. The fourth game requires teams of two. This causes even more sexism, but also a fair amount of discord since nobody wants to team up with anyone they perceive to be weak. Sangwoo proposes teaming up with Ali, leaving Gi-hun out in the cold a bit. Se-byeok teams up with player 24, promising she would do what it takes for her to win. And in a lovely moment, Gi-hun pledges himself to 001. That leaves Minyu without a partner, and she's dragged away by the guards. The game looks like it's going to be marbles, which player 001 says he was pretty good at in his youth. He says that he and Gi-hun are now Ganbu, the neighborhood best friend who they trusted the most. They're both excited, until the twist is revealed. The partners have to play against each other, and the first one to remove all of their opponent's marbles wins. This is a major problem for almost everyone. While everyone gets to work playing a series of different games, player 001 refuses to indulge in this and decides he's going to try and find his house instead, given this area is designed to look exactly like his old neighborhood. He wants to find his old house. Gi-hun pleads with him to play, shouting at the elderly man and holding him tightly. Eventually, they agree to play odd and even, although player 001 is pretty nonchalant about the whole affair. Sangwoo flips out on Ali when he keeps winning but eventually decides to team up and go after other teams. Sangwoo encourages Ali to hand over his marbles, switching them for a whole bag of rocks. He double-crosses the poor man and leaves him with nothing but a bullet to the brain. At the same time, Se-byeok opens up about more of her past to Ji-young, including how she ran away from North Korea. She wants the prize money so she can bring her whole family together and head across to Jeju Island. Eventually the pair play, with the winner decided by who throws the marble closest to the wall. Ji-young though sacrifices herself for Se-byeok, in a beautiful gesture as she admits she has nothing else to live for. As the time runs out, gunshots echo across the area. Gi-hun loses his patience with the old man, leading to the pair talking outside player 1's old house. Player 1 decides to give up in the end, with the pair hugging as a final gesture. Just before he goes, player 1 confirms his name is Il-nam. Gi-hun walks away with all the marbles, tears rolling down his cheeks, as the gunshot sounds as he walks out. Thank you for watching another episode, see you on the next one.